Hey guys, YouTuber Whenever here. Okay, like I promised, now here I am to give you guys my retro Backlash review that I was talking about in my last video. And so yeah, here I am with that review, and this is going to be a review for Backlash 2003. So yeah, this really isn't a show that really does get talked about a whole lot. I mean, not really a lot of people really do mention the show when they talk about whether it's Backlash in general or just pay-per-views from 2003. And quite honestly, it's not really hard to see why. Yeah, I mean, this is a show. This was really not that good of a show at all. I mean, it wasn't like a flat out horrible show, but yeah, the show really is just like a very it is just like a very meh show. Well, I mean, you do have like some good stuff on here. Like there are like a like a, a few good matches on here, but everything else really just ranges from just being like really just very average at best. Yeah, I mean, and it really just I have heard like some people say this is was like the worst pay per view of 2003, but come on, don't get crazy. Like there were worse pay per views in 2003 than this. Like, I mean, do you even remember Judgment Day that year? Judgment Day was a million times worse than this show was, but yeah, still just yeah, the show just really wasn't all that good. Nothing on the show really does stand out about it. Now, then I mean, of course, like the show is really known for like having like a dream match on here, but yeah, even that really just is not. Well, I'll get to that later. Yeah, but yeah, this show overall, I mean, like I said, you do have like a few good matches on here. But everything else, yeah, like I said, it really just does range from like very forgettable and average. So really just yeah, if you haven't really seen the show before, you're not really missing out on all that much. Like yeah, like I said, the show isn't horrible. Like there were like worse pay-per-views in 2003, but yeah, this show really still is not really a must-see show. So, yeah. So really, just there's not really a whole lot to really say about it. I mean, yeah, it just really is a show that really is just like very, yeah, it is just like very mediocre and very average. So yeah, like I said, just it's not really a must see show. So if you haven't seen it, it's not really one that you really do have to. All right. So yeah, so I really don't know what to really say about it. So yeah, I'll just go through the card on the show. All right. So the first match of the night was the WWE Tag Team titles on the line. It was Team Angle defending against Los Guerreros. And yeah, this was a really good match right here. I mean, yeah, this was definitely the best match of the night right here. Yeah, this was still like this was during the time when like Kurt Angle was out with the with his neck injury that he suffered at WrestleMania 19. So Team Angle were on their own here, but yeah, this was during that time where they were like carrying that picture of Kurt Angle, like saying that he was like there in spirit. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, like I said, this was a really good match right here. Yeah, this was definitely the best match of the night. I mean, it really was like a very good tag match. I mean, yeah, yeah, they both teams just like it was back and forth between the two of them. Like both teams had got like an advantage at points in the match. Yeah, there were like dirty tactics used from like both teams in the match. Like whenever like one person from a team was like in the other team's corner, like they would be choking them out with the string from the padding for the turnbuckle. Like oh yeah, and yeah, there were like a lot of double team moves used in the match. Yeah, it just like went back and forth between both teams here. Here, yeah, and then yeah, then eventually like as a Javel was like a legal in the match. Like Shelton Benjamin like hit Charlie Hotz with like a power bomb, and then yeah, Eddie Guerrero then took out Shelton Benjamin. And then Eddie Guerrero then hit a frog splash on Charlie Haas. But Charlie Haas survived it, yeah. And then then as Eddie Guerrero and Sean Benjamin were like fighting on the outside of the ring, as Chavo like had Charlie Haas up Shelton Benjamin ended up tripping Charlie Haas and held his foot down, and then that allowed Charlie Haas to pin Chavo. So yeah, Team Angle got the win, and they retained the Tag Team Championship. But then after the matches, they were celebrating with the portrait of Kurt Angle. Then Eddie and Chavo then just laid out Team Angle, and they actually took the Tag Team Championship belts away, and then they took them with them, and then they just left the building. And what was funny about this is that I didn't actually watch this event when it first aired on pay-per-view, but then when I watched the following episode of SmackDown, and I saw Eddie and Chavo holding the tag belts, I was confused as to what happened there. So that was kind of funny that they ended up taking the tag title belts even though they didn't win the titles. But like I said, this was a really good match right here, and definitely match of the night. I give this match 3.5 stars. And then next up on the show, then we had Rikishi versus Shawn O'Haire. And in this match you had Roddy Piper in Shawn O'Haire's corner. And this was bad. This match, this was just really bad. This match only was about 4 or 5 minutes. Not really anything happened in the match at all. There really wasn't anything between the story really wasn't even between Rikishi and Shawn O'Haire. The story was really between Rikishi and Roddy Piper, because of course the story with Roddy Piper smashing the coconut over Jimmy Superfly Snuka's head back in was it 83 or 84. And of course, with Rikishi being of the same descent as Jimmy Snuka, Rikishi was looking for revenge, and even a few weeks prior to the show, Roddy Piper also smashed a coconut over Rikishi's head. So the story for this match really was just more Rikishi and Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper even brought out a basket of coconuts in the match. And then at one point in the match, as Roddy Piper tried to get involved, Rikishi then got revenge and finally smashed a coconut over Roddy Piper's head. And so Rikishi got the revenge for what Piper did to Snuka back in the 80s. And Shawn O'Haire ended up winning this match as Rikishi was distracted with Roddy Piper, and that it got the prophecy of Rikishi and pinned him. So this match this was bad, and like I said, the story really was between Rikishi and Roddy Piper, so I didn't really know why Shawn O'Haire was Rikishi's opponent for this match. So I give that match half a star. Then next up, we had the World Tag Team Championship on the line. It was RVD and Kane defending against the Dudley Boyz, with Chief Morley as the special guest referee for the match. Now, before I actually talk about this match, there's something that I want to talk about that I really just don't understand. How come, for the DVD of the show, and even for the Peacock or WWE Network version of the show, why are RVD and Kane's entrance musics dubbed for their older entrance musics? I don't understand that. I used to have this show on DVD and I watched it, and I even watched this show just now on Peacock to make this review. And why are RVD and Kane's entrance music dubbed for the older ones they had rather than the ones they actually used at this time? Of course, RVD used the One of a Kind theme during this time, but for some reason they ended up dubbing in his older theme that he first used when he came to the WWE. What's it called? Damnation. And Kane, instead of using the Slow Chemical song that he used at this time, they used the one that he had before, which was the Out of the Fire music. What is the deal with that? Why did they switch out their entrance music for their older ones? And I even noticed they did this on other DVDs from pay-per-views in 2003 around the same time. They did it for Judgment Day. I think they also did it for Bad Blood. What is the deal? Like, it's not even like the themes that they actually used at the time were copyright, so why did they even dub in, like, their older entrance music that they didn't even use this time, instead of just using the current ones that they were using then? So, I really don't understand that. And they did the same thing with, like, Booker during this time. Like they ended up, like, dubbing out just, like, his regular Can You Dig It Sucka music, and they just, like, dubbed in that music that they used for Booker T in the WrestleMania 18 game for the GameCube. Like, why? So that's something that I just don't understand. Like, it's not even like a copyright issue. So, yeah, I don't really know why they did that. All right, but anyway, back to this match. Yeah, this was also a pretty good match right here. Yeah, this was like during the time where, like, the Dudley Boys, they weren't really heels at this time, but yeah, this was when, like, they were, like, forced into joining, like, that Eric Bischoff administration with that, like, Eric Bischoff and Chief Morley had. Yeah, because they got forced into doing it in order to, like keep their jobs and stuff. So the Dudley Boys were competing on behalf of, like, Eric Bischoff and Chief Morley during this time. Yeah, but yeah, this was a pretty good match right here. Like the other tag title match, like, both teams really did go back and forth in this match. Yeah, Chief Morley really, at first, it seemed like he was really, like, calling this match on the middle. He wasn't, like, being unfair and really just, like, trying to screw over Kane and RVD in the match. Yeah. It just like went back and forth between the two teams. Then eventually, as Kane and RVD, like, were gaining the upper hand on the Dudley Boys in the match, then as Kane was about to deliver a choke slam to Bubba Ray Dudley, then Chief Morley then just ended up giving Kane a low blow. So yeah, this was when, like, Chief Morley was starting to be biased in the match and not call it down the middle. Yeah, but then then at one point, as, like, a Chief Morley tried to attack RVD moved out of the way, and Chief Morley accidentally hit Bubba, knocked him down. Yeah, and then Devon was just pissed about that. Yeah, because Devon really was not on board with being part of the Bischoff Morley administration. So yeah, then this was when, like, Devon just was at his boiling point, and then Devon ended up attacking Chief Morley, and then eventually the Dudley Boys gave Chief Morley the 3D. Yeah, and at one point, Lane Storm also tried to get involved in the match, attack the Dudley Boys, but they got rid of him too. Yeah. So after this, then this was when, like, the Dudley Boys, like, just quit the Bischoff Morley administration. Right here, yeah. But then eventually, with Morley taken out, then Kane was able to hit a chokeslam on Bubba Ray Dudley. Then RVD got a 5-star frog splash. Then another referee ran in and made the count for Kane and RVD. So Kane and RVD won the match, and they retained the World Tag Team Championship. So yeah, it was a pretty good match. Maybe it did get, like, a little bit overbooked with, like, the stuff with like, Chief Morley getting physically involved and the Dudley Boys attacking him and the run-in from Lance Storm and all that stuff. Maybe it did get a little overbooked, but it was still overall a pretty good match. So yeah, I'd probably give that around, like, a 3.25. Now, then next up, then we had the Women's Championship on the line. It was Trish Stratus defending against Jazz. And, I guess this was just fine. I mean, for a women's match, I don't really think it was all that bad. I mean, yeah, Trish was, like, hurt during this match because, the previous, on the previous Raw before the show, like, Jazz ended up attacking Trish and actually, like, slammed Trish, like, splatter right down onto a table, and that, like, ended up, like, injuring Trish's ribs and her back. Yeah, so Trish was, like, hurting in this match, but yeah, overall, I mean, the match overall for a women's match, it was fine. Yeah, they did keep it relatively short. It was only about, like, 6 minutes long, yeah. And that was the case with a lot of matches. A lot of the matches on the show were, like, significantly short. Like, there were, like, 3 or 4 matches that, like, were just, like, barely over, like, were only, like, in the 5-minute range. So yeah, so a lot of matches on the show were relatively short. Yeah, but this match, like, it was fine. I mean, yeah, it was kind of like just, like, Jazz really trying to just, like, take advantage of Trish's hurt ribs and back and stuff. Yeah, it just kind of go, like, back and forth. There's a one point in the match where Trish tried to do the thing where she flips her eggs back into the ring. Yeah, she tried to do that with Jazz, but Jazz countered it into a Boston Crab. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, Trish also ended up reversing that into her own Boston Crab. Yeah, then at one point, then it looked like Trish may have actually had the match won when she hit Jazz with the Stratus faction. But then as like Trish went for the cover, Theodore Long, who was in Jazz's corner, he ended up throwing his shoe right at Trish's head, and then Theodore Long then tried to blame it on the fans, saying that they threw the shoe in, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, but yeah, then due to the distraction, then as a Jazz then tried to uh as a Trish also tried to go for another satisfaction or something, Jazz was able to counter it and was able to pin Trish by holding onto the rope. But yeah, so yeah, Jazz ended up winning the women's championship right here. Yeah. So overall, I mean, for a women's match, it was just fine. So yeah, I guess I would probably give it around 2.5 stars. Yeah. And then next up, then we had the Big Show versus Rey Mysterio. Yeah, and yes, this was basically just like the ultimate big man, little man match. Of course, with the Big Show, the biggest guy in WWE against Rey Mysterio, the smallest guy in the WWE. So yeah, so I guess this was just an obvious storyline that WWE really did decide to do. Just give it the ultimate David versus Goliath battle, basically. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, this match, I mean, it wasn't really all that good, but I mean, yeah, it did what it needed to. It was just the match that people really he was were just basically just expecting to see. It was just the match that really was just like I said, it was really just natural to really do this kind of storyline with Big Show and Rey Mysterio. Yeah. Yeah, the match only lasted about 4 minutes, and yeah, really just throughout the match, Big Show was really just displaying how much bigger he was than Rey Mysterio. He was just easily picking Rey Mysterio up and just throwing him like a rag doll. There was one point in the match where a Big Show actually grabbed the top of Rey Mysterio's head and actually lifted him up. Yeah, yeah. Then and at one point in the match, as Rey Mysterio was on the outside of the ring, Big Show was trying to go for Rey Mysterio, and then the Big Show threw the referee out of the way, and then Rey Mysterio nailed Big Show with a chair. Yeah, yeah, and then Rey Mysterio then hit a few 619s on the Big Show. Then as Rey Mysterio tried to go for the West Coast pop up on Big Show caught Rey Mysterio in midair by the throat, and then Big Show then just delivered a monstrous choke slam to Rey Mysterio and pinned him. So yeah, so Big Show ended up getting the win. And right there, yeah. And of course, we have the famous post-match moment where as the referee was called for the EMTs. He's for Rey Mysterio as they were loading Rey Mysterio onto a stretcher backboard. The Big Show ended up coming back, and then of course Big Show then just took the stretcher backboard and then just with Rey Mysterio on it and swung it into the ring post. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I saw Lindrick's review of the show, and he mentioned this, and he said for the people that are saying that the WWE is fake, how the hell do you fake this? What is fake about what happened here with the Big Show actually swinging Rey Mysterio right into the ring post? What's fake about that? Yeah. No. And of course, this would lead to the storyline with Brock Lesnar following with that Judgment Day in the stretcher match and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, so the match, I guess it served its purpose, but yeah, that post match segment was really awesome. Yeah. So I would probably give that match around 2 stars. Yeah. And then next up, then we had the WWE Championship on the line. Brock Lesnar defending against John Cena. Yep, you're hearing that right. John Cena challenged Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship in 2003. I mean, who would have thought that back then, with John Cena challenging for the WWE title, that he would just do what he ended up doing all these years later, or with the WWE Championship? I mean, yeah, who would have thought that back then? Now, and especially like seeing this with like John Cena as the heel and Brock Lesnar as the face, just well, and really just yeah when John Cena came out, like that was kind of interesting because the show was like in Massachusetts, which is of course John Cena's home state. But for some reason, when John Cena came out, he was like like dissing Massachusetts, saying it makes him sick, and he actually came out wearing a Yankees jersey. Just whoa, like Yankee jersey in Massachusetts. Just oh, you're just asking for it there. Yeah, and even the crowd was chanting "Yankees suck" to John Cena. Yeah. But yeah, this match overall, I guess it was good. I mean, there are later matches like the ones that they had like in like the like their Extreme Rules 2012 match and like their 2014 matches like at SummerSlam and stuff. Yeah, those were better matches. But yeah, this one overall, it was good. I mean, yeah, Cena actually like got in like quite a lot of offense on John Cena in the match. Yeah, Cena really did gain the upper hand like quite a lot on Brock Lesnar in this match, which was kind of surprising for this time. And yeah, and it kind of like go back and forth. Like whenever Brock Lesnar went on offense, he was basically just throwing John Cena around, just like knocking him all over the place like a rag doll. Yeah, yeah, John Cena did get Brock Lesnar bloody in the match. Yeah, and yeah, John Cena really was just like taking Brock Lesnar out a whole lot in the match. Like he actually like threw Brock Lesnar into the steel steps, and then like yeah, John Cena really was just like trying to shove Brock Lesnar into the referee, but it didn't work. Yeah, then and like as the referee was like distracted, like John Cena and hit a low blow on Brock Lesnar. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, John Cena was just kind of like using some dirty tactics throughout the match. Yeah, and then John Cena then tried to hit Brock Lesnar with his steel chain, but the referee disarmed John Cena, and then that allowed Brock Lesnar to get the F5 on John Cena, and yeah, then Brock Lesnar got the win and retained the WWE Championship. So yeah, so so it was like this really was like a very interesting match because yeah, especially when you look at it now, just seeing like the star John Cena is now compared to back then, and like of course like this time like it wasn't John Cena's time to go over just yet. And, yeah, it was still like a couple of years before he was ready for that. So yeah, it was really kind of a pretty bold move to really like have like basically two rookies like this be in a WWE title match on pay per view like this. So yeah, it was a bold move, but I think it did work out. It was a pretty good match, and yeah, like I said, it's just really interesting looking back just to see like uh, John Cena doing like all these like heel heat moves and Brock Lesnar doing the babyface comeback. So yeah, so it really is interesting to really like see the two of them on like different roles like this for a match. Yeah, like I said, like the later matches that they had, like their more recent matches, were are are better matches. But yeah, overall, this was still a good match overall. So yeah, so I guess I'd probably give that around like 3 stars. Yeah. The next up, then we had a 6-man tag team match. It was Triple H, Chris Jericho, and Ric Flair versus Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash. So yeah, this was really like the match with like all the big storylines that were really going on Raw during this time. Of course, like the stuff with Booker T and Triple H, like following like their match at WrestleMania and stuff, as well as like the stuff with Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels after like goes following their match at WrestleMania. Yeah, yeah, and and also of course like this was like the month that Kevin Nash did return after like all that time off. Yeah, and this was of course like the start of like the storyline with Triple H and Kevin Nash feud, because like the previous episode in Raw was when Triple H turned on Kevin Nash. So yeah, so now like they were really like gunning for each other, and this was really like the kickoff of that feud. Yeah. So yeah, so this match overall, I gotta say, this just felt very average, to be honest. Just, yeah, not really like a whole lot really happened in the match. There's just not really weren't any like really big memorable spots in the match at all. It was really just kind of just standard action between all 6 guys. Yeah. And really just one of my personal problems for this match. I'm not really sure like if anybody else really does feel this way, but a personal problem that I do have with this match is just the story between like the guys on both teams in the match, because just like less than a year prior to this, like the guys on each team like had like histories with each other, because yeah, of course, like just the previous year in 2002, like Triple H and Chris Jericho like had their feud, of course, like at WrestleMania 18, like with the Undisputed title, and they even like had that Hell in a Cell match at Judgment Day the previous year. So yeah, so there was like, of course, like the story between Triple H and Chris Jericho just the previous year, and now they're teaming up with each other. Here, yeah, as well as like the with like a Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash, because less than a year before this, I mean, Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash like just humiliated Booker T and kicked him out of the NWO. Oh, like you remember that? Yeah. Yeah. And even also like even between Chris Jericho and Ric Flair, because just the previous summer, like Chris Jericho and Ric Flair are feuding like with their matches at SummerSlam and Unforgiven the previous year. So yeah. We had like all that history between the guys on like both teams, and yet here just it's like WWE is like was really just like trying to make us like pretend like none of that ever happened. So yeah, that's just a problem I have with the match. Like just all the like just the history between them, all 6 guys less than a year prior to this match, and it's as if that never happened. Just yeah, I've never liked that when WWE is really just trying to make us pretend that like situations between guys that are teaming up in a match never happened before. So yeah, that's a personal problem that I do have with the match. I'm not sure how if anybody else really does feel that way, but yeah, I just really just have a hard time really like just buying that they are really trying to make us pretend that that never happened. None of that ever happened. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, just this match really it was just very average. Just it wasn't absolutely horrible, but just when you think about like the guys that are in this match, wouldn't you expect like a relatively good match here? And that's really not what we got. The match just was like very, very average. I mean, you had like all 6 guys really just like tagging in and out and going at it with each other, and really just like not really anything memorable happened in the match. Yeah. Then eventually, we did get like a Triple H and Kevin Nash going at it finally and stuff. Yeah, and then it just ended up like just getting out of control, and like all 6 guys were fighting with each other. And then, as Kevin Nash was like going at it with Triple H at ringside, then uh, Kevin Nash then like hit a jackknife power bomb onto Chris Jericho, and then as the referee ended up like getting knocked out of the ring after Ric Flair got thrown into the referee, then Triple H came in and then nailed Kevin Nash with the sledgehammer, and then Triple H then pinned Kevin Nash, and Triple H, Chris Jericho, and Ric Flair got the win. So yeah, so really just Triple H just like pinning Kevin Nash like that, that really got their feud off to a really bad start. It just really made Kevin Nash look really bad, and given like just that like Triple H really just Kevin Nash really never did go over in their feud. It just really made Kevin Nash look pretty bad, and it really didn't make the storyline between Triple H and Kevin Nash really look good. But here, and it just really did. It really just really didn't and really get the feud off to a good start. I mean, if Kevin Nash really went over here, that really would have made a lot more sense with the feud going forward with the matches that they had at Judgment Day and Bad Blood. But here, just with Kevin Nash like getting pinned after getting nailed with the sledgehammer, it just made Kevin Nash look really bad, and it just really he got that feud off to a pretty bad start, and of course things would just get worse as it went on. So yeah, so that was a bad decision having Triple H go over Kevin Nash here. Yeah, so yeah, and like I said, this match was just very average. Like just nothing memorable really happened in this match. So yeah, so that's really unfortunate. So I give that match like a 2.5 stars. And then we got the main event, The Rock versus Goldberg. So yeah, so this was Goldberg's WWE in-ring debut match. Yeah, and I'm sure like I said, like this is really like considered a dream match for people. Uh, yeah, so really just this was like something people were really looking forward to. But I gotta say, this match really did not live up to the hype. This just really was not a very good match at all. I mean, and there were some problems with this match. The first one being, I mean, Lundrick said this in his review. This match was like thrown together with only like a month's build, and even like in that 1 month, like the build up really like was not all that good for it. Like it was just like The Rock, like just talking smack about Goldberg, and Goldberg really just like staring The Rock down. And yeah, when The Rock would just like get like a cowardly upper hand on Goldberg, like this Raw before the show, The Rock like laid Goldberg out with a steel chair. And so yeah, so the build up here wasn't really all that good. Yeah, and plus yeah, in this match, like this was like Goldberg hadn't wrestled in like quite a while before this match. Like after WCW closed down, like Goldberg really didn't compete that much. Like he did compete like in Japan briefly, but yeah, it wasn't really like all that much. Yeah, so Goldberg in this match, like he was just like very rusty and slow, and yeah, he really was not like all there and stuff. Yeah, and plus this match also like it was a relatively short match. This match was only about like 13 minutes long. I mean, wouldn't you expect like a 20-minute match out of this or something? Yeah, and just really, this match was just far too slow. Like there was just a lot of stalling throughout the match, and yeah, we're just like a whole bunch of dead spots throughout the match, and plus, yeah, the crowd just like couldn't make up their mind on who to get behind in this match. Like there were times where they were chanting for The Rock, there were times they were chanting for Goldberg, they were chanting Rocky sucks, they were chanting Goldberg sucks. It's like the crowd just like I couldn't make up their mind on who to get behind in the match. So yeah, so this match it just really wasn't that well put together. Yeah, and the match it really was not really that good. Like I said, it was just way too slow. There was a lot of stalling in the match. Like there were like multiple times in the match where The Rock was just like standing around like like whether he was talking to the referee or just like on standing on the outside of the ring and stuff, and just yeah, there were just like way too much stalling in the match. Yeah, and plus even like when there was like they did go out in the match, it was just like really slow. No, it's not like they really did go back and forth. It was just kind of like them like using rest holds often in the match, and they went for like their signature moves and all this stuff. So yeah, the match really wasn't that well paced. Like even like when like there were like those moves used in the match, like it just really didn't really come off that well. Like it just kind of seemed pretty phony, to be honest. So yeah, so the match really just like was very jumbled up. Yeah, yeah. There was a point in the match where Goldberg hit The Rock with a rock bottom. Yeah, and then The Rock then got like a sharpshooter at one point on Goldberg. Then, yeah, when it seemed like The Rock like was getting the upper hand, The Rock hit like a spine buster and a rock bottom on Goldberg, but Goldberg survived it. Then The Rock hit the people's elbow on Goldberg, and Goldberg survived that too. Ooh, yeah, and then Goldberg then like hit a few spears on The Rock. Like at one point he delivered it kind of like at the midway point in the match, and then at the end Goldberg then hit two spears on The Rock, and then hit a jackhammer, and then Goldberg ended up getting the win. So yeah, so really this really was not a very good match. I mean, this, and plus, yeah, with the people say that this is really a dream match, I really don't think that, like, The Rock and Goldberg are like, well, I really don't think this is like one of the big like WWE versus WCW matches that people were really wanting to see. Like, of course, like Stone Cold was like the main person that people wanted to see Goldberg face and stuff. And plus, yeah, even like stuff with like Rock versus Hulk Hogan and all that other stuff. I really don't think that like a Goldberg was really like the main person they wanted to see The Rock face at that time. So yeah, so really, just this match really was not very good. I mean, it really wasn't epic like Brock versus Hulk Hogan was. So yeah, a pretty disappointing match. So I would probably give that around like 2 stars. Yeah. So overall with the show, I would probably give it around a 6 out of 10. Like, it does have some good matches. Like, the 2 tag team title matches are really good. The WWE title match overall is good too. But yeah, like I said, just like everything else, just on the show, it really is not that good. Like it just really does range from like just very average at best. Like, especially like the 6-man tag, you figure that would have been like a pretty good match, but it really was not. And yeah, Rock versus Goldberg was a pretty big disappointment as well. Yeah, so like I said, the show really is not like a must see at all. But yeah, it does like have a few good matches on here. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't seen the show, you're not really missing out on much. All right. Yeah. So I guess that's all I can really say about it. All right. So this is it for my review of Backlash 2003. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.